Felicitations, adventurers! Welcome to Roll for Felicity, where we play serialized one-shots in a multitude of systems with assorted players. And for today's stream, I kind of lied. We're not doing a serialized one-shot. This is the Good Society stream, which is my first series on stream. Good Society is a Jane Austen-themed tabletop RPG, and this Good Society stream series, I guess we're calling Arse and Farce, which has been a lot of fun. All of the players have butt-related last names. Yeah, I think if you're new here, my name's Taylor. I use she, her pronouns, and I am going to be facilitating this game. I also usually am the person running games on this stream. So I feel like that's all you need to know about me. My brain is all scrambled. I did a stream last night too that was a one-shot for a game called Basic Witches that was very, very fun. And so I'm still thinking about that, I guess. But I am going to throw it over to my guests today for them to introduce themselves. We've already got Peebs in the chat. Peebs! Shout out to Peebs! Xavery, do you want to introduce yourself to anyone in chat who isn't already familiar with you?
Hi, I'm Xavery. Also Xavery on Twitter. She, her are my pronouns. And Peebs is my little sister.
Wonderful. Tag, do you want to introduce yourself to people?
Gosh, I'd love to. First, I'd like to say that we all shouted out Peebs so hard. I screw an echo, so...
Oh, no.
I'm Tag. I use they, them pronouns. I've been here before. I portray primarily Nikola Popichka in this game, and that's what I'll be doing again today, I guess.
I guess that makes me nervous for what you're planning.
I might abandon ship halfway through.
Cool. Arielle, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, hi, I'm Arielle. She, her pronouns. I am playing Lord Phillip Farthingbottom, who has been MIA, but potentially will be coming back this episode.
Potentially. You all are really, like, you all have been like, collaborating off stream to plan something.
As we all say things like that, just imagine us looking out over a cliff over misty waters.
Yeah, that is a good move. Mace, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Oh, yes. I'm Mace. I use she, her pronouns. In this, I portray Lady Constance Farthingbottom. Shit,
there it is. There it is. You said it. It's canon.
That's why you all picked the name, though, I think.
I know. If she were Irish, it would be way worse. Lady Farthingbottom. But no, I portray Lady Constance Farthingbottom. And I guess she, her pronouns, if I didn't already say. And yeah. That's me. I got thrown off by saying Farthingbottom, so it
doesn't help that we were all thinking Farthingbottom the whole time.
Yeah, and before we get into it, I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened last game. First, I already forgot what I was about to say. Oh, yeah. But first, I'm going to have a little icebreaker question, which we usually do to, let us all get to know each other a little bit better. And for this stream, I thought a good icebreaker question would be, what is your, I always try not to say, I always end up saying favorite, but I don't want to because favorite just puts such an emphasis on it. But a farce or romance that you particularly enjoy. And I'll go first. For me, the answer would be The Importance of Being Earnest. Is one of my favorite plays in general, and that is both farce and a romance, similar to Arse and Farce. Yes, I'm saying it. We're all as great as Oscar Wilde. Same echelon.
You can't fight us on it. He's dead.
You can't. Did Oscar Wilde ever have a Twitch stream? I don't think so.
Didn't even know what it was. What an idiot.
I'll throw question over to Xavery. Do you have a romance or farce that you particularly enjoy?
Oh my gosh. I've been in such like Halloween mode for October that I've only been watching like scary stuff and Mothman documentaries, but we did watch Ted Lasso recently, and I am in love with Roy and Keely. They're so cute. If you guys haven't watched Ted Lasso, it's amazing. I made my mom watch it with me. She thought she wouldn't like it because she doesn't care about sports, but it's such a cute show.
I've heard that it's really good. I haven't gotten around to watching it yet, but I've heard it's very good. Who's next? Tag. Do you have a romance and or farce that you particularly enjoy?
I don't have one, and wish I had thought of the importance of being earnest, mostly. I'm gonna really do a cop-out here and say that I am particularly fond of Northanger Abbey, which I may even have said last time we played. But the reason it's relevant this time is that everyone in that story is just like a romantic moron, and that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think Northanger Abbey would be considered a farce, because it's like a play on... Yeah, Gothic literature. Northanger Abbey is very underrated, in my opinion, as an Austen work. Arielle, you're next. What's a romance or farce you particularly enjoy?
I think, and it's also one of my favorites, but Much Ado About Nothing, in the version with Emma Thompson, Kenneth Branagh, and Keanu Reeves.
I'm glad you said it, because that was my second choice for farce, and specifically that version, which I love. Despite the significant overacting of multiple people in that version.
I think that's what makes it so farcical.
It is. Yeah, what is the guy who plays like the main romantic lead, who's also in House, and I can't remember the actor's name, but his acting in that is so funny because it is so over the top, like this romance acting. I can't remember his name. Mace, how about you? Do you have a farce or a romance you particularly enjoy?
Boy, this is tricky because I had like a theme appropriate answer, but then Xavery brought in a modern take, which is something that I am way more into, and I think fits romance and farce way more than the thematically correct option I had. So I'm gonna go with the modern one. I'm watching a lot of sports anime.
She can't stop bringing it up.
I really can't. And I watched one lately that is a absolute riot and incredibly sweet and super romantic and adorable. It's called Skate the Infinity. Please watch it. It's fun as hell.
I knew you were gonna say.
Oh, it's so good.
I haven't seen it, but
it's genuinely
talking about it.
It's so romantic. It's adorable and it's funny as hell. I would definitely call it a farce. So if you're into sports anime and a bunch of gay shit, check it out. It's great.
That's very good. There's also
I was gonna say Jane Eyre, so like who needs it?
Jane Eyre or sports anime. It's a toss-up.
Get out of here, Brontes.
Brontes, Oscar Wilde, you're on our shit list. We're coming for you.
Shakespeare, get out of here.
Shakespeare, back of the line. You never had a Twitch stream
seen
either.
a real hype.
Shakespeare totally would have been a Twitch streamer if he were alive today. And I won't be explaining myself.
No need. I think we all understand exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I am going to really quickly recap some of the stuff that happened in the last session. In our very first session, Phillip, who is being played by Arielle, was banned from the Peachtree estate, which one of the other things that I think we should do maybe today, I have as my list of things to do / find out, is if people have names for their estates. So if the Peachtree estate has a name or the Farthingbottom estate has a name, like that's always fun. But Phillip was, whatever the Peachtree estate is called, Phillip is banned from it. Constance and Esther had a library date that was very sweet. We learned that it's been a year since they were in close confidence with each other, which is a euphemism. And William Peachtree wasn't happy about that. And then the other main thing that happened is we had a horse riding date between Nikola, Constance, and the middle sibling, our middle triplet, Mortimer, who was not very good on a horse, and apparently very quickly fell for Nikola, and brought them flowers just in time to see Nikola and Constance having a little bit of a Regency era intimate moment, and Nikola dropped the flowers that he had been carrying to Mortimer dropped the flowers he'd been carrying to give to Nikola. And then Mortimer had a corruption arc, which is what Mace said. Mace called it that. Where Nikola went to see, I keep saying Nikola instead of Mortimer. Mortimer went to see Nikola and delivered a letter which was illegible because it was raining, and then Mortimer got very sick. People wrote some letters to each other, which which I won't go into the letters because I think they'll just come up. The other thing that happened is we had another novel phase, which was a church service. Nikola tried to, I guess didn't really try. An NPC named Daniel tried to talk to Nikola to flirt with them, and then Tag had to use their secondary character James to keep that from happening. And also Esther got James to run Nikola out of town, so Tag is basically, I assume, going to be bullying themselves during the stream today. That's the main stuff that happened, I think. Oh, Esther ignored Constance at church, which helped get her back into her father's good graces, and Nikola was able to get back in the Hilda Farthingbottom's good graces, having been accused by Esther of being too forward, which was found out to have been a lie, and so Esther is banned from the Farthingbottom estate. I think that's pretty much everything that happened. I'm just seeing chat. Melanie said Mortimer is kind of a Joker type now. Which, I don't know about that, but we'll see, I guess. We'll see. The other thing is, I forgot to say, this is one of the bits of business I forgot to say at the beginning of the stream. If you want to help or hinder the players today, you can use tips, so you can do bits or just cold hard PayPal cash, to either choose a player and give them a resolve token, including me, that I can use in my devious little ways. Or for 500 bits, you can create and spread a rumor, which will impact what happens during the game. So both those things are super fun. Also, I fixed this. It wasn't working last night, but if there's a moment that you think is really funny or really interesting or something that you think you'd maybe like to see on Twitter or TikTok at some point, you can do !marker in chat. Just the word marker. And that will make a stream marker for me, so when I go back to clip this episode, I can see what people thought was interesting and their favorite moments, which is extremely helpful to me because I find it hard to be motivated to edit things. So the easier it is on me, the better. That being said, we are in our letter writing phase, and I think we can start with anyone. You can all write up to 2 letters, write or receive up to 2 letters. I am interested because the big question mark last session is where was Phillip? Phillip Farthingbottom was off doing something. No one knows what. So Arielle, if you have an idea for a letter from Phillip that could explain, that would be cool. Or if you just want to get into it when we get into a novel phase, that's fine too. But I'll open the floor for all of you to, if you have any letters that you want to be writing about anything that happened or anything that you want to happen in the future.
You would think I would have thought about this at all.
Yeah,
You'd simply be wrong.
I was talking for so long, trying to give you guys time to think of things.
Can we talk about how small this teacup is for a second?
It's
I know
so
we're
small.
talking about.
I really like it.
Melanie came out here with a whole tea set, and these are the cups, and this is the size of my hand. So
I will say I spent most of that time not thinking about letters and more thinking about what to name the Farthingbottom estate, and I came up with something to the effect of Cedar Pine Manse, because it sounds like seat of my pants. What do we think?
wow.
It took me so long to come up with that. I was like, it's got to be something Manse. How do I connect it to pants?
That is... I would never in a million years have thought of that. Arielle, I'll give you the chance to veto since it's also your estate. Are you
That's
fine
true.
with Cedar Pine Manse as the name of the Farthingbottom estate?
I like it. What I had thought of was Rumpus Manor, but that's
It's also really good.
That's very good.
They're both
Now
very
here's
good.
here's what I'll say. I don't have an estate. As far as I know, I'm doing high class couch hopping basically.
Yeah.
What if I live at Rumpus Manor?
Yeah, that could
Yes.
be Grant's estate. And that way it's still what Arielle thought of, since Arielle controls Grant.
Good.
Let's do that.
Pretty
Rumpus
good.
Manor.
I really like both options. Sounds great.
Okay, so Rumpus Manor is Grant's
We're
estate.
going right to it.
Cedar Pine Manse is Farthingbottom.
Grant's first name is Rumpus.
Oh, Grant is his last name. Very good. Does anyone have ideas for letters? Or other names of estates?
I don't know. I was thinking like Windbreaker Estate or something for the peach trees. Or like
Yeah.
This is great.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Very,
funny.
very good.
Can we call it, did you say Windbreaker Estate?
or something.
Yeah, like maybe Windbreaker Cliffs or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Windbreaker
It's just
Garden.
very high up and tall. That's the only reason.
yeah. Windbreaker Cliffs is so funny. Cool. You're all great. You're all golden. I thought Melanie was talking about the cat that Tay is holding, whose name is Babka, but I just thought Melanie put in chat Baka. Like all in caps. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, I was like, what's happening? I know we mentioned anime earlier, but like it doesn't really make any sense. We're off to a wild
Great.
start.
No letters yet.
I think I am gonna write a letter. I think to Constance. That says it's from your bookie. And you get a letter because you had in the first session placed a bet on a horse called Round Arse Millie. So you get a letter from your bookie that says that Round Arse Millie had lost. So you lost the bet. But notifying you that you sent 2 letters in error, and the bookie only placed the first one that arrived. So I think with that question, I don't think either of you specified how much of a bet you had placed. You both just said you placed a bet. So I'd like to hear from both of you. It doesn't have to be like a dollar amount, but you can just say like a small amount, a medium amount, an estate ruining amount. And then the other question is, we don't know which letter arrived first, since you both placed them roughly at the same time. So I would offer either of you can spend a resolve token to have yours be the one that arrived first. So 2 questions, I guess. First, we'll establish how much was wagered.
Constance, from what I remember, when she wrote that letter, she only specified like the regular amount. And while Constance is doing this, probably is not a great idea. I think that she's trying to be cautious about it, at least was then. So I'm gonna leave it at a medium amount.
Okay.
Just enough that like it's still pretty reckless, but she's not trying to expose herself.
Cool.
So I will say that she's doing medium.
What about Philip? What kind of fraudulent bet? What size was the bet that Philip placed?
I feel like I need to be super nefarious. I'm missing. I placed a really dangerous bet. I think it should be sizable. Maybe not estate ruining.
Yeah.
But enough that if someone found out, they'd be like, bruh.
Cool.
Jane Austen lingo.
Yeah. Which of the two of you wants to give me a resolve token to have yours be the one that actually went through?
I'm not. Here's the thing, the racehorse storyline, like, especially if we are considering doing that for a novel chapter, really, I would love to see that get dicey for Constance. So, if you want to spend one, I'm not going to stop you. I actively
let's
won't
do
put
it.
mine out there.
Cool.
For the intrigue.
Philip
make it happen.
coming in hot.
We gotta back Constance into a corner. She needs to get crazy.
You actually, Arielle, just gave yourself a resolve token.
I don't know how to do this.
I'm watching you. Cool. So yeah, I think maybe to make this spicy then, I don't really know how horse racing works in general, and I don't know how it worked in the Regency era. I imagine there's some sort of like bill or receipt or something that the bookie sends you that you can see that the amount is more than you remember having placed. So that happens in this letter writing phase.
Got it. In that case, if no one else has any letters they want to do right now, Constance is going to respond to that right away.
Yeah, I think go for it.
Great. She's going to write back immediately. Very alarmed that that's not the amount that she specified, and the idea that they were 2 cents. And she'll write back asking, like, who was it that delivered the letter? Was it the same person that delivered the second one? Can you enclose a copy and get it to me as soon as possible? I believe that was not sent by me.
Interesting.
And I guess for a little bit of
with
flavor, like, what?
Being honest with the bookie. Interesting move.
It makes sense.
For a little bit of flavor, probably after she finishes writing that, she'll like crumple up the letter from the bookie in her hand and then be like, oh, I'm gonna just smooth it back out.
I probably need this.
Yeah.
Very good.
I've just had a dumb idea.
Okay.
And so I think I'll lean into that because I don't know who to have Nikola write to be honest.
Do you want me to remind you of some of your romantic options? Would that help?
Well, I'm aware that theoretically there's Constance is who they've kind of made moves towards. Mortimer is maybe still mad at them. So I could do something with that. I don't think Nikola even knew that Daniel was trying to go flirt with them because it was stopped immediately, and Nikola's pretty oblivious, it seems like.
Yeah.
So there's that. Although I have just a pile of resolve tokens.
And that's
here.
what I was gonna say. You could offer. Who's controlling Daniel? I think it's me. Yes.
I think it's you.
So you could.
Daniel has so many tokens.
I know, but he could have.
Oh
one
my god.
More. You can offer Daniel a token to write a letter to you.
That's a pretty good idea. The dumb idea that I had was to get a threatening letter from James unsigned.
I do like that.
So...
And you wouldn't even have to you wouldn't have to do anything with resolve tokens since you control James, so it would just be, free to do.
Yeah, I'll spend a token to get a letter from Daniel.
Okay.
And in my head, it's very funny if these letters arrive on the same day. So whatever Daniel is going to say is, maybe complimentary. And then the very poor handwriting and blocky letters of James saying like, "What you think you're about, mate? I'll do your head in, I will." And then it's not signed.
Very good. Yeah, you can, since you spent a resolve token, you can let me know what you would like Daniel to write to you, like the general contents of it, and, we could negotiate, or I can just say yes, or whatever.
Well, Daniel, missed their chance to talk to Nikola at church. Mm-hmm. I just remembered it was church, and that's very funny. So they don't know each other, but just establishing that line of connection without, someone being able to physically get in the way is a benefit to Nikola, who is trying to get as many people interested in them as possible.
Mm-hmm. And Constance did... you weren't introduced to Daniel, but Constance did talk to Daniel and tell them who you are. So, they would be able to write something to you. It wouldn't be, out of the ordinary. I think you receive a threatening letter from James. You receive a letter from Daniel that I think basically says, something like, I wanted to make your acquaintance at, church. This sounds so funny. I wanted to make your acquaintance at church, but you were a very popular figure, and I couldn't quite make my way to you. Actually, no, I think James talked to Daniel. I was thinking James talked to Nikola, but actually James
I think James waylaid Daniel.
Yeah. So Daniel says I wanted to talk to you at church and introduce myself properly, but you had left before I got a chance to. Introduces himself. He is, I think, a student technically right now. It says aspiring professor, so I'm assuming he's currently in school. So says something about how he has been he hasn't gotten a chance to travel to Russia but would love to learn more about it, and asks if he could possibly call upon you at Rumpus Manor, where he's heard that you're staying.
I think Nikola probably writes back to say that they would be delighted with that. I think I'm also picturing them looking at the two letters on the same day, just kind of looking back and forth between them, looking at the one that James sent. I'm not going to worry about that. Crumpling that up and kind of throwing it aside.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Did you say Nikola wrote one back to
Yeah, to accept that.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Cool. Offer. Yeah. So that's I think all of Nikola's letters. Which leaves Esther, Constance, and Phillip. You all have two that you can send or receive.
I was going to write to Daniel as well, because they like kind of snubbed Esther at the like after church thing, and she is not like that at all. But my idea was I kind of wanted to write it in a way where like I kind of want to like spill some tea, but I kind of like want to pretend that I'm addressing it to someone else, like maybe writing to like one of my parents or something, and like, oh, oops, it got in the wrong envelope. I don't know how it got sent in.
You want to like pretend to text the wrong person?
Yeah.
That's really
Oh
funny.
shit, wrong credit.
Yeah. What do you want to put? What do you want to?
I just want to. I guess I just want to talk about how like, the letter or whatever that Hilda sent to me, like banning me from the Farthingbottoms, just like talking about how like rude she is, or how like she doesn't know what she's doing, or like maybe she's too like old or not in her right mind to understand that, you know,
Spicy.
I'm the one who's just trying to do the right thing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. Basically, talking shit about Lady Hilda.
Yeah.
Cool. That's one letter. Do you have something else that you want to send, or do you want to spend a token to receive a letter, or send a letter as your secondary character, Madame Cassandra?
I don't know. That was the only only thing I really wanted to do.
Okay, we can jump back to you before we wrap up this cycle, just in case something comes up that you want to respond to. How about Phillip and Constance, the Farthingbottoms?
So I think Phillip might write a letter to his friend Melissa. Maybe, I feel like he is kind of, I think he would leave because he saw that there was drama brewing and he didn't want people to be aware of how nefarious he was being. But I think along the lines of the potential like horse race we're doing, I think I want to invite Melissa to a horse race.
Oh, cool. I wrote a letter to Melissa, inviting her to come to a horse race. And are you also telling Melissa like what you've been up to or where you've been, or do you want to not?
I feel like keeping it vague for now.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have another letter that you want to write as Phillip or receive? Or do you want me to jump over to Mace?
Jump to Mace for now.
Cool. Mace, what are you thinking for Constance? Oh, you did write one letter, I guess. You wrote a letter to
So I just have the one, right?
Yeah, you have one.
Got it. I'm trying to find a way to phrase this that doesn't ultimately sound like a diss, but even that's kind of funny. I think that she is very unnerved by the concept that somebody is writing to her book and impersonating her. She tries to think about who to consult to ask why would somebody do this, or do you have any idea why this would happen?
Yeah.
Like someone who's like moved in that circle, who could like speak to it, because she's just doing it for the love of the game, really.
Yeah.
And I think that she writes to Nikola. It's like, you seem like the type.
Cool. Constance writes a letter to Nikola. What do you want the letter to say?
I think she's probably gonna address it like a little too personally. Like she's gonna like, we both had an exhilarating horse ride, so you understand where I'm coming from here. This is the biggest deal ever. And saying something to the effect of this. I know that you've been through a recent character disgrace, which was entirely undeserved, and I fear that someone is trying to make me out the same way. And as friends, we must stick together. And I would be deeply humbled and grateful for any advice or intel you may have on this situation. It is imperative that I maintain my family name, but I just can't pull myself away from this. Sincerely, I'm trying to think of another spicy way of ending it. My destiny is in your hands or some shit. Sincerely, Lady Constance. Fucking drama queen.
Constance. Awesome. So that just leaves, I think, Phillip and Esther. You still have a letter if you want to, but you don't have to write 2. You can just write up to 2. So, if you have something, you can let me know. If you don't have anything, we can move to the next cycle.
Yeah, I think I'm done for now.
Cool. How about Phillip?
I think Phillip needs to write a letter to Nikola because they are best friends. And it would probably make sense to communicate a little bit.
We had so many letters today.
Here, Nikola's mailman comes back again out of breath.
Okay, but if this is another threatening one, I don't want it.
I can't guarantee what's in the contents of these letters. I just deliver them.
Yep, fair enough.
He's American for some reason.
We're all American, really.
He comes in with a cowboy hat right in his word.
It's like the cowboy.
Oh, I got letters for you.
It's like how there's a cowboy in Dracula, and it doesn't really make sense, but there is. Cool. So Phillip writes to Nikola.
Okay.
What does Phillip write?
I think he wants to just make sure that they know that he is okay. Kind of to... I don't think Phillip is okay. I'm gonna say that. But once to have this facade that everything is okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it tells them I am on a trip to the countryside and we'll be back soon. Hope everything is going well. Keep an eye on my siblings, specifically my sister, and let me know if anything dramatic is unfolding while I'm away.
Cool. So Phillip is on a trip to the countryside, whatever that means. Once Nikola
On a trip to the countryside.
is it? It's like I'm gonna bring up Importance of Being Earnest again, but in Importance of Being Earnest, it's whenever I can think of the name of the character that's made up, but I can't think of the main character. Whenever the kind of
Bunbury.
Yeah, Bunbury. I can remember. I can't remember who was the one who always went. Well, I can't remember.
Who made it up?
I guess Ernest. They all said their names were Ernest, but
Yeah.
but would always say "Oh, my friend Bunbury is very ill." And then I just remember at the end of the play, he says Bunbury's quite exploded when he wants for Bunbury to not exist anymore. So Phillip was visiting Bunbury. Cool. I think that's the letter writing phase done. Which means that we are to the end of our second full cycle of play. Which means we're gonna do upkeep. So let me see what all that entails. Oh, the first thing that entails is I think 3 of you have monologues. Yeah, Phillip, Constance, and Esther. None of you did monologues last session. Oh no, hang on. Nikola. Esther is the one who did a monologue. So Nikola, Constance, and Phillip. Nikola spent their monologue token. That's what was throwing me off.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so this can be a current thing. This can be this could have taken place at the church or at the horse riding date or the library date. This can kind of be nebulously placed, but each of you have monologues to give. Do any of you have ideas for what you would want to do?
Are we able to give monologue tokens to side characters, or is it just the main
I
players?
believe it's just the main characters.
I think it's just the main
that makes
characters,
sense.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, because the main characters are the only ones who have a drop down that says, like, have you given a monologue? The side characters don't have that. So yeah. Just
I forgot that you gave one outside of having a token dropped on you.
Oh, you do it upkeep. Yeah. So, like, if people don't during the rest of the game, you do it upkeep.
Oh, go on.
I was gonna say, I'm dying to know what Philip's been up to, so I will drop mine on Ariel,
I do kind
please.
of like
Yes.
this.
I really want to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Philip has secretly been, perhaps, getting involved in some, like, underground fighting or something that is really risky, like, gambling-wise. Maybe just, like, through James somehow is getting into that.
So are you fighting? Or you're placing bets on fights? Or is it...
I feel like placing bets, but also maybe he got punched because of something terrible.
So getting in fights outside of the actual boxing match.
He's causing trouble. But from afar, he still wants to, like, encourage discord between Constance and her friends, and also with, like, the letter that he wrote to Nikola, also wants to drive a wedge between Nikola and Constance, because he doesn't want them to really be friends. And at some point, he kind of wants to swoop in when Constance is unstable to, like, be like, oh, I'm the responsible sibling, let me come in and save everything. But for now, it's just kind of, like, away, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, so what do you think, do you have, like, what is Philip just thinking, like, I need to, like, shore up my reputation? Like, is that kind of what the monologue is?
Yeah. And, like, still, like, the main plot is to try to disinherit Constance.
Yeah.
And have total control.
I would love for this monologue to be happening during you getting in a fist fight. And maybe the monologue is like, I need to get my act together. Like, it's kind of like, you may be wondering how I got into this situation. Like, you're about to be punched in the face. Yeah.
Okay, so rewind to when this happened, I guess. Let's see, what can we do? How does this happen? How does Philip get punched? Maybe, I wonder if... I think it would be hilarious if somehow, while he is at this, like, fight placing bets, he sees Constance's bookie, and the bookie might have some suspicion.
Oh, so you think you got to fight with the bookie?
That would be interesting, right?
Yeah. That'd be really
Ooh. That's insane. I love it.
That's very good. Cool. So we still have Constance and Nikola. And actually, I said everyone just give their monologues. I'm actually remembering that technically, which is only helpful for a specific reason, that people do spend their monologue tokens, and the reason why that is different in any way is that the person who's spending their monologue token to ask the other person can ask a specific question to shape the contents of the monologue. So, which is what Mace just did, which is I want to hear what Philip has to say, because, like, what's been going on. So,
Yeah.
Arielle or Xavery, if you want to hear specific things from Constance or Nikola, you can do that. You can spend a monologue token.
I guess I want to hear what Nikola, like, what direction they're leaning as to, like, who they're interested in and like what their immediate plans are gonna be.
I like that.
I concur.
I think that things have been a little slow as far as like Nikola getting what they are after, I think. And I think they feel like at this point they're making good progress, as gross a way as that is to put it, in that like all these people getting in touch. This Daniel guy, don't know him, but sure. I could probably still fix things with Mortimer. And things are going well with Constance. I think that he doesn't... that they don't... Excuse me, I misgendered my own character. I was thinking of Phillip. Don't think that they really... We said this in the last session. I don't think they really get what Phillip's game is. And I think they know Phillip to know that he's kind of a self-serving person. And, like, they like that about him. So I think they're kind of at this spot where it's like, well, as many people as I can get interested, the better. So things are going great, and that puts me in a position to actually see what my best prospect is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's I think a little bit they've maybe had the most success hanging out with Constance, especially with the letter, but at the same time I think they are starting to feel a little bit of that situation, because again, it's that question of like, what is my good friend Phillip up to?
Yeah, because I don't think that Nikola knows that Phillip is trying to disinherit his sister. I think that question was asked last session, and we decided that Nikola's trying to, what you just said, trying to figure out what's going on, but doesn't know that that's what Phillip's plan is.
Yeah, it's tricky too, because Phillip was initially kind of like, oh, go hang out with my sister, because that'll make my sister look bad.
Yeah.
And then, this revelation that, none of them know other than Phillip, that Phillip is then waiting to be like, and then I'm going to dive in and ruin that too.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so that just leaves, I believe Xavery. No, Xavery, you're the one who just asked that. Arielle, do you have anything you want to know about Lady Constance's internal monologue?
I feel like she's already at unease, and I kind of am picking up on that. I'm not sure. I want to know how Constance is feeling towards Esther.
Yeah. I want to know that too.
That's a good question.
Oh. I'm gonna set it up like she's like spending the morning in the library and is like flipping through the page that like she was reading and thinking, this was sad. And I think she's just like replaying in her head the moment at church where Esther didn't look at her. And I think that a lot of their friendship was communicated through like looks and brief touches and like just like passing. And she's just like, so I don't believe that she didn't expect it, but she's caught so off guard by an instance in which Esther didn't meet her halfway. And is, I think she's teetering on the edge of whether or not her family is right about Esther. She's like, if she couldn't even give me a look in church in front of God and everybody, then maybe she did betray me.
Yeah.
And maybe our families are better off apart.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's very good. Great monologues, everyone. So I think I just need to refresh. Nikola has a monologue token back. Esther, I'll change this drop down to no. Okay, so the next thing, which we mentioned previous to stream, is the inner conflicts that you all have. Inner conflicts that you established in the first session, at the end of the session during upkeep. To progress an inner conflict, players will mark the inner conflict table on their character roll sheet to show how their internal struggle has evolved. Oh, thank you so much for the bits, Realist Mogul. It's I feel like I always say this. I appreciate the bits. If you want to give someone a resolve token, it's just 100 more bits. Just to let you know, if you're not trying to give someone a resolve token, I appreciate the bits. It will go to the players. So two of you were interested in changing your inner conflicts, which is, I'm pretty sure, easy. This is when I actually have to look at the rules. I know I found this before. I think I went too far. I believe you just change it, and you don't mark either side of what you've changed it to. I keep saying choose a new desire, but that's not what it is. Placing desires. Oh, player completes their inner conflict. Let me go see. Page 102 is what I need to go to make sure that I'm right. Oop, I went way too far. While I'm scrolling around, those of you who are not changing your inner conflicts, if you want to let people know what your inner conflict is and what you think you have checked off while I'm scrolling around. I think that's just Phillip and Esther are keeping the ones they have. And your inner conflict is like the little thing at the bottom that's like this versus that. So income versus reputation, I believe, is Phillip's right now, for example. Oh, why is this in such a different place than I thought it was? Okay, 102. Completing an inner conflict. None of you have done that. Okay. Yeah, you just create a new one. I was right. You just create a new one. Does anyone have stuff about their inner conflict that they want to talk about?
Yeah, I guess I could use some input on mine, because when comfort versus expectations, it's become abundantly clear that Nikola is just sort of pretending at any of those expectations, like when Grant is in the room, and other than that, does not seem to care about that at all. So it hasn't really been a struggle for them in any way. Which I don't know. Does that sound true to all of you? Am I in my head about this?
If it's helpful at all, it seems like I'm not totally sure how to phrase this one, but there seems to be like a bit of a difference, I suppose, like a pitting of polar opposites of what Nikola is trying to do versus like the right thing to do. That sounds awful, but like,
no, it's not wrong though.
That's what I was.
But yeah, no, that what, like they could have an option of clearing Esther's name, but then that would probably ruin some of their prospects. They have the option of siding with their friend Phillip and just pursuing another connection, but that would screw over Constance. And it seems like the idea that they're starting to be like, what exactly is Phillip doing, seems to hint to me that they might be starting to wonder, like, should I do the right thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I've
or
never tried it
that
before.
that keeps me the most connections, right? Because you lose one no matter what, but like, is it gonna come down to what is the better thing or what is the most beneficial thing?
Yeah, and the other thing I was gonna say
That might
is,
just be.
That's a good point.
before the stream, you mentioned like, oh, the thing with Nikola is that they're a really good secondary character, but you didn't think they were a very good primary character, which I disagree with. But I wonder if some of the reason why you might feel that is because Nikola right now hasn't really committed themselves to any side. You're very like playing the field, so which is kind of fits with what your desire is. But depending on how many cycles we play, we said we wanted to play 4 or 5. If we're playing 4 cycles, this is the end of the second cycle, so we're halfway through the story. This would be a good time for Nikola to decide something. So that might help,
Yeah.
Because you've been playing Nikola
agree.
as, like, very affable and very likable, but secretly wants something that's
not great.
Yeah. So I wonder if there is, like Mace was saying, like, that internal pull of, like, I'm likable, now do I want to try to be a good person?
Yeah, I mean, would it seem to you to kind of encompass that if I change it to like comfort versus morality, I guess?
Yeah.
It's this idea that, like, they put forth this front of and it's effectively a front of being just like decent, friendly person, but with all these ulterior motives. And it's that question of like, well, what if I was actually just nice to people?
But not even just nice, but I think, like, the difference between, like the Stephen Sondheim thing, nice is different than good.
Yeah, that's, yeah. How would I phrase that? Let me think about this here.
Comfort versus morality made sense to me.
Yeah, maybe I'll go with that. Maybe they'll start to like it's bad actually to treat people like opportunities.
Yeah, maybe. So then you can uncheck the 2 marks that you had made, because you're starting a new desire. Mace, what are you thinking about yours? Because you had yours as ambition versus duty, and then felt like that didn't really fit anymore. Do you have thoughts on what you want it to be, or?
I do, actually. And I'm realizing that it's actually not that far than what I currently have, but it's a lot more specific and it makes a lot more sense now. I thought that maybe I would transition it to love versus something because of her connection with Esther. But then I want to be able to tie in, I want it to encompass more than just her plot with Esther. And it seems like the thing that she's always like being reminded of when she's put into a corner is her responsibility to her family, which goes beyond eldest child responsibility and it goes into like a territory kind of thing. So I think what I want to go with like her instincts that are always curbed by her remembering like what being part of this family means would be individuality versus allegiance or loyalty or family.
Yeah.
Because I think if it were just up to her, she'd be like, Esther wouldn't do this to me, and that would be the end of the story. Or like, I don't really care, I'm gonna put as much money on a horse as I want. But all of it is getting stopped by being a part of the family means X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It means shunning Esther. It means not being addicted to gambling on a horse. It means behaving a certain way.
Yeah.
Or, God save her, at least being better at gambling on a horse.
Yeah, either don't do it or get rid of it.
She never will.
Yeah, I think that fits really well, and it works really well too because your character archetype that you're playing is the cornerstone. So that's like a classic thing for like the cornerstone archetype.
Yeah.
Esther and Phillip, do you want to talk about what your inner conflicts are, and let us know if you think that you have checked boxes on either side. You can check as many boxes as you want. You can even check boxes on opposite sides. So like tags is comfort versus morality. If Nikola did something during the cycle that was action in pursuit of both, you can check both sides of the same prompt. So yeah, either Phillip or Esther. Do you want to talk about your inner conflicts?
Yeah, mine is reputation versus impulse, like her like how she wants to be seen and how she wants people to treat her versus like her main goal, which is just like getting rid of Nikola. And yeah, so I think the biggest thing was for her reputation, I put she hurt or pushed away someone important to you for this.
Yeah.
And that was when she kind of like turned against Constance in order to stay kind of like her parents didn't give her like an exact ultimatum, but her father was like, you need to like, figure something out. And she was like, obviously it's not going to work out because now Constance's like family is against her, and you know, so she kind of like cut ties with that so that she could be seen as like worthy in the eyes of her father. So yeah, there's that. But then she also has been doing a lot of like underhanded things to kind of like try to damage Nikola's reputation, and so
Did spontaneously tell her amateur boxer friend to, you know, do whatever they felt was right.
Yeah. So that's what she kind of always wants to like frame it in a way where she has like plausible deniability.
Yeah.
So because she doesn't want to affect her reputation too bad.
Yeah, that's very good. So because you checked off 3 boxes, you get 2 resolve tokens. So you get resolve tokens for each box you check off, but it's a maximum of 2. And then you keep those boxes checked, and I think when you get either side completely full, you change your inner conflict. So you'll get some resolve tokens for that. What about Phillip? I guess you wouldn't have really... The only thing you did was write a letter, technically, during the last cycle. So maybe you haven't done
Right. So I was like, I guess that was kind of an action in pursuit of my reputation to like just cover my business.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would say you could take that one off.
I'm in the process of pushing away someone important to me, kind of.
Yeah. I think definitely based on what you're saying.
Is Constance important to me?
I guess that's up to you. I guess
that's the question.
That's the question.
Significant, but important. I'm not sure.
It's an important part of your motivation.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely think. Oh wait, so it's income versus reputation. I was gonna say you degraded your reputation, but you haven't degraded. Well, You have degraded your reputation based on what you said you've been up to.
Yeah.
I would say you have degraded your reputation in pursuit of income because you've been going to these boxing matches and placing bets, and all of that. So I think if you want to check that one,
I wonder if anything counts for income as well, as far as kind of damaging it, because like he's playing a pretty dangerous game as far as the way in which he's trying to damage Constance's reputation is to spend a bunch of the family's money that he's trying to get.
That's
Not the brightest
true. Yeah, I don't know how that fits into this dichotomy.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe that's part of my actions in pursuit of this. I destroyed your chance of successfully pursuing the other.
I
like,
think
me trying to foil Constance is foiling my income.
yeah, I think maybe just do the two that you've got for now, so you'll get 2 resolve tokens, and then I think the rest of them will probably come into play in these next novel phases. I'm trying to decide. Okay. I think this isn't really technically what the rules are, but Constance and Nikola, if you two want to checkmark one of these boxes to get a resolve token, because I think the reason why you changed them is because you were role-playing different than kind of what your internal desire was. So if either of you want to check, if you feel like you have done anything like that would check one of these boxes, you can check one and take a resolve token for yourself. And I still had 3, so I'm good. And I think with that, I believe. Oh, we'll review collaboration. That's the other thing. So for collaboration, the tone we've decided on is a farce. We've decided historical accuracy is somewhat important. We have the gender power balance off, and we're not using hidden information. We've decided things our game should avoid are general bigotry, so racism, sexism, homophobia, ableism, transphobia. Things we've decided we'd love to see in the game. We'd love to see at least one romance storyline. We'd love to see mistaken identity / misunderstanding. We'd love to see a Snidely Whiplash-esque villain, which so far we're saving up for at least one. One person get disinherited, drama, and then we also said that this could be sillier. Is there anything that we want to change or add to our collaboration?
The stakes
I mean,
are
nothing-
risen pretty well on their own. I was wondering if we needed something that would like get this a bit more intense, but the fact that the next thing is going to be at a horse race is pretty promising.
It feels,
It feels like
black eye,
something could really go down here.
So I don't think so yet. Basically.
Cool. If anyone thinks of anything, you can let me know. We can revisit it. But for now, are we ready to move on to the next cycle of play?
Yeah.
3rd cycle. Things are getting spicy. Do we want this next novel phase to be an event phase, and do we want it to be a horse race? Yes.
About it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sounds very fun.
Will you all do me the honor of describing what you're wearing to this horse race while I look up some things about Regency horse races?
Ooh. I want to look at like what appropriate riding wear, not that they would be riding would be. So. Yeah.
I'm also wondering, did they have riders? Yes, they did. Okay. I was just thinking of in Music Man, he says something about like how the like jockeys would sit on the horses, and I was like, is there a time when people didn't ride the horses when they were racing? But if there was, it was not Regency, because I'm seeing pictures of people on horses. I'm gonna send you all a link of an article I just found that is specifically derby fashion in Regency era, it seems like.
Phenomenal.
I haven't scrolled completely through it yet, but it has some pictures. In the Regency, horse racing was known as the sport of kings.
Ooh. Oh, so cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this in chat too, so chat can see what we're looking at.
Excellent.
And I'm gonna look at some of our side characters to decide. Oh, I think Mortimer is there. Mortimer, this is his first
gotta be.
outing post illness. We talked about a couple of different reasons why Mortimer would be amenable to Nikola again. I'll ask Tag if you have a preference for what this is, since it's your reputation condition that, you know, partially caused this. Do you have something that you want to be the reason why why you're back in Mortimer's good graces?
I mean, one option we discussed was that because he was very ill, he simply forgot, and that is very funny. Maybe a little too convenient for Nikola.
I mean, this is a farce. Need I remind you?
Can I suggest that he hallucinated Nikola coming and apologizing?
Oh man.
That is very good. I do like that
Yeah,
as well.
that's good.
I almost wonder if feeling... How often do you think Nikola apologizes to people for things?
Up to this point in their life, almost never.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the thing that kicks off your crisis of conscience is, for maybe one of the first times, having someone accept an apology from you and, like, feeling that that's like, oh, this is actually kind of nice.
Oh, we don't do that in Russia. It's a sign of weakness there.
It's up to you if you want that to be what it is, but I do really like the idea.
Oh, no, I do really like that, yeah.
Of Mortimer hallucinating that you apologized. That's really funny. So Mortimer's there. I think Lady Hilda... Oh, would Lady Hilda be there? Question mark. I think she would be there. Melissa's there because she was invited. I'm gonna guess probably Edith is not there. Doesn't seem like the best place for a child to be.
Probably not.
I would think James would be there. I would think Daniel would be there. I guess that just leaves if we think Madame Cassandra and Grant are there.
I bet Grant is there.
Yeah, I think so. That would be there.
Yeah, Xavery, do you think Madame Cassandra is there? That's Nikola's actress friend who's Russian.
Yeah, I think she's there. I think she's like waiting for something more exciting to happen.
Cool.
So she's there.
All three of the Russians are in attendance and just sitting there going, okay, so do they shoot the horses or...
Very good. Yeah, did I stall enough talking about side characters for you all to figure out what your characters are wearing?
Yeah. I do have to tell you what Philip is wearing.
Yeah. What is Philip wearing?
Please.
So,
Please.
he is coming in with a top hat, a deep blue, like, velvety morning suit jacket, probably black pants, and an eye patch.
Yes.
Disappears for weeks, shows up with an eye patch?
Yeah.
Incredible move.
Incredible.
So powerful.
An
Immaculate.
eye patch and a top hat.
Good.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
very cool.
gosh.
Yeah, what are the rest of you wearing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So my family, or my father, is like a haberdasher. So I think I'm showing off one of his most like elaborate hats for the race, and then just kind of like a dress that matches it.
Yeah, do you have a color scheme that you're thinking of?
I think, what time of year is it now? Like summer?
Yeah, I think we can say summer. You all had
Oh no, he's wearing like velvet and stuff.
Yeah, but that's not logical.
but I think you all had a picnic not that long ago. Wasn't there a picnic
Yeah,
in the first
true.
episode?
Yeah.
So I think it's summer. Oh, it is summer. Let's say it's like mid to late summer, because the other thing I remember is one of the reasons why I said that it was raining when Mortimer went to visit Nikola was because it was an end of spring, beginning of summer, like thunderstorm. So yeah, I think this is like midsummer. Not like Midsummer the movie, but this time of year. Otherwise, it's gonna be bad.
Throw the oldest horse off the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think just pastel, like something pink and floral, or
Yeah.
something cutesy.
Yeah. What about Nikola and Constance? What are you wearing?
I've been trying to make Nikola look stranger in my head every time I think about an outfit for them. And sometimes with public events when we come to them in this game, I want to be playing up the fact that they're not from around here in a particular way. And I think very unseasonably, they've got just sort of like a I think they're mostly wearing like blue, lighter blue than Phillip, I would imagine, and like, but like this fur thrown over her, as this extremely dramatic look, and I want to say a top hat and a parasol.
Yes.
I don't know why I want all of those things on this character, but that's where I'm at.
Can the
right now.
parasol
I'm gonna interject.
also have like some sort of fur aspect to it?
Yeah.
Fur-lined parasol.
The top of it has like the head of whatever animal is kind of tossed over their
Oh
shoulder.
my goodness, yeah. This is a Met Gala look.
Tremendous.
One important
could
thing
never.
about the light blue in Russian is golubboy, which is also a term for gay. So you're being a little bit.
Is he,
Being a little
That's how you're
bit.
treating this.
I love that we have someone who knows quite a bit about Russia to just sprinkle in some details.
Helpful.
Cool. What about
Thank
Constance?
Constance is like super projecting herself onto the horse race right now. I think that she's wearing stuff that's a bit more suited to like a riding habit. I think her color scheme is like a deep green though. Very sort of like evergreen vibes. But she has like on a sort of traditional riding habit for like a jacket, which is very long sleeved, a bit more tailored like a men's suit would be, because a lot of women's riding clothing emulated menswear. I think that she similarly has a top hat, but I think that it has a veil component so that her face can always be a little bit hidden in case anyone is putting pieces together. But I think that her coolest accessory is like a pair of opera glasses for the sake of like watching the horses really, really closely. I think that those are embossed with her initials.
Very good. I also believe Mortimer was very sick, and this is his first like entrance back into society after having been incredibly ill, is definitely in, I think, not to like, oh, this is like, you know, to make a scene or be dramatic. I think it's like required, but he's in like a wheelchair, like a moving chair, and has like a big umbrella, like parasol thing that someone is using to help him keep from being overheated. He's wearing like white clothing that's very like something that you would wear in the hospital almost. He's well enough to be able to be out in society, but still, you know, recovering from this horrible illness.
God.
Straight up pneumonia.
Yeah.
Homeboy rolls up in a
Lungs.
hospital gown.
Yeah.
Lungs failing him until 2 days ago.
Yeah, right. So Mortimer is there, and I wonder, do you think that Constance is the one holding the umbrella for Mortimer, or do you think that you've left that to Lady Hilda?
I think she's left that to Lady Hilda. This is her zone.
Cool.
She's just like, Mother, I appreciate everything you've done for Mortimer at home. It's been quite a while since I've been out to a good race, and you know how much I adore the horses. If you could be so patient and kind with me, I would love just this afternoon of entertainment to myself. I promise I will get right back to my duties as soon as it's over.
Mom, I'll hold Mortimer's umbrella when we're at home. Right now, I'm looking at these majestic animals.
Lady Hilda says, "Oh, my dear, I would never ask you to do anything but pay attention to the horses, because I know you wouldn't listen to me anyway."
I give her a kiss on the cheek and be like, "You're so good to me, Mama." Just run off.
Perfect. Yeah, what do you think the rest of you are up to?
Ooh. Phillip needs to come see Nikola, I think.
Yeah. Do you think you two came together, or do you think you're meeting up here?
Maybe meeting up here. Maybe I came with Grant, since we were coming from the same place.
Makes sense.
I was coming from the countryside. Anyway.
Right.
It's in the countryside. Yeah, so Phillip, you make a beeline over to Nikola. What do you want to say? Let's have that scene of you and your friend.
As I'm sitting there with a heavy furred parasol, kind of squinting and going, if I was going to have an accessory, I should have had little glasses, I think. That was a mistake on my part. Which one did we bet on?
Yeah, is this, are you talking to Grant, or are you talking to Cassandra?
Either.
Just to the way.
Yeah, Ariel, you're Grant. Avery, you're Cassandra. So if either of you want to know which horse you bet on.
we very narrowly created a double Ariel scene too. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll be a Cassandra then. I think she's like, I simply do not see why we cannot bet on every horse. That way, always win.
Okay, always win, but always lose too. I don't know how I keep explaining this to you. It's not quite getting in there.
I think Grant is like, have you tried? I can't even voice this morning. Okay. Just like not paying attention to the horses at all, but is like drinking. It's like,
yeah, convenient, so you don't have to be Grant and Phillip as if Grant is kind of out of it.
Smart.
Delicious. Maybe smoking a cigar or something.
Yeah.
Aloof.
Oh, look.
Yeah, I think that's probably when Phillip comes in.
Yeah, so Phillip comes in. My friend Nikola, how is life here?
Phillip, where have you... Did you get more rakish? What's going on You look incredible.
Yeah,
Cassandra just like.
on my trip to the countryside, I took a stumble and injured my eye, so I'm wearing this new fashionable eye patch. I think it'll catch on in a flash.
Oh, don't ever take that off. Are you kidding me? You look like you've been out adventuring. Have you been out adventuring?
One could say that.
Okay, well, you could have taken your friend along, but sure, okay. That's fine. That's fine.
I knew you were busy here. How has life been? I feel like you've been making good connections.
Oh, yes, and I'm just sort of like looking around the place and looking for people who've recently letters. Yes, I've been doing all right for myself. Is your sister here out of curiosity? And
I'm sure.
Of course. I'll go and look around and say hellos to people won or lost. Are you betting today? How does it work? Please explain it to Cassandra.
Cassandra, how are you?
It is, of course, a pleasure to see you again.
So yes, we've bet on one horse at a time, the one that you think is the lucky horse, and
That's
at the
what I
end
said.
we find out who wins. And hopefully you have a lot of luck this time. Which horse did you bet on?
I have no idea. No one will tell me.
Well, I
When
bet.
we went up to the little booth, I just said the fastest one for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I think there is.
Well, I'm betting on
There is
this
a
gray horse.
Oh, go ahead, Ariel.
I'm gonna call this horse Soggy Bottom.
Of course.
What else would it be named?
I'm trying to think of. I know horse naming conventions are very odd. I like the idea that maybe there's
Spotty Bottom,
one.
Round Arsed Millie.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there is one that sounds something like the fastest one or something like that, where like the name that's like just what they thought you were saying.
Is there one that's like Faustus or something? That'd be really dramatic.
Yeah, I do like that.
Faustus.
I was thinking running his butt off. You know, just like
That's
make
a good
a
one.
make a whole sentence out of it. This horse is called running his butt off. Sounds
Okay.
fast.
This horse is called so good at running.
Bistro
I'm-
is fast in Russian, so it could be something like a bistro where it's like confusion and the Russians are like, oh yeah, that one's fast.
Oh, that one's going to be very fast, of course.
A bistro.
Okay, so there's one that's called like Bistro Butt or something because we have guys with butt.
Bistro.
Just add the word butt, yeah.
Yeah, Bistro Butt, fast butt. That makes sense. Yeah. you bet on Bistro
Oh
Butt.
boy.
Now in my head, I'm just imagining some disco duck, but Bistro Butt.
Perfect.
Cool. Yeah, I think as you're having this conversation, Nikola, you notice a certain Mr. Daniel Gibbon, who is kind of glancing over in your direction like multiple times. And
I
yeah, go ahead.
know who Daniel is because I knew who the letter was from.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I notice that, I'm gonna lean in towards Philip and go, Philip, my very good friend. What's that guy's whole deal?
Wait, which guy? Sorry.
Daniel.
Daniel there?
Ariel, just for your benefit, Daniel, I believe, is one of Constance's connections,
Right.
and is one of Constance's former classmates. Aspiring professor, modest prospects, the eternal scholar is what.
I think I'm gonna go with the inexhaustible storyteller.
Yeah.
But I don't like him because he never shuts up. So I'm gonna say something like, "That's a friend of Constance's, a fine fellow, but he does go on far longer than he needs to. I would just avoid getting into conversation with him if I were you."
I guess I'll stay here. Although, I mean, you know, if he's sort of a friend of your family, so that's. Would it be rude to not say hello to him? I'm not
No,
sure.
use your own discretion. You can say hello. I can introduce you if you need.
Couldn't hurt. Although I only know that you were sort of having an adventure in the country and you hurt your eye, so I'm still curious about what you've been up to.
A hunting trip. With my cousin in the countryside. Yeah.
An imaginary hunting cousin.
Nothing
on
of
a-
consequence.
I love how Philip like
Which
is just
cousin?
saying it all so like kind of changing the story, like just whatever, not really trying to sell it that hard.
Everyone has a hunting cousin. If you don't know one, then you are the hunting cousin.
Even if you've never hunted, it's there. It's in your heart.
Just deep down, you're the hunter cousin.
Oh,
I'm marking that one. Hunting cousin.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna spend a resolve token with this information that Ariel gave us about the significance of light blue. Daniel Gibbon has all these resolve tokens. I'm gonna spend a resolve token, just to say that he's also, you notice, wearing light blue.
Oh,
not
matchy.
coincidence.
Yeah.
If it's not a coincidence, big red flag.
That's true. if they found out a way to find out what you were wearing.
Huge problem for me. That's a major deal breaker.
Yeah. I don't think it's like a full suit. Like, it's not like they're like completely wearing dark or light blue, but it is like maybe their jacket is. And then, you know, their pants and shirt are a different color. I think maybe their jacket and top hat. Of course they have to wear a top hat.
Strong look. Oh, interesting. What do I want to do with that?
While you're thinking, I would love to see what Esther and or Constance are up to. We already know a little bit of what Constance is up to, which is staring at the horses.
Yeah.
Esther, do you know what you're up to?
I think that Esther is just kind of like sitting in the back, like observing, kind of not drawing much attention. Probably sitting with James. I think she doesn't know much about horses, and the only things that she does know came from like listening to Constance. So yeah, I think normally she wouldn't place, like she wouldn't bet or anything, but I think this time she does, just because like if she does win like a pretty good amount, then that would obviously like boost her family, give her like a little bit more power and leverage. So
Yeah, I think you notice as you're kind of like looking at everything going on, you see Lady Hilda, like, as you're surveying, you make eye contact with Lady Hilda, which is like a very if looks could kill. And as soon as you make eye contact, you see she turns and begins talking. She has like a pretty sizable group of people around her that she's conversating with, because obviously people are drawn to like see what's going on with Mortimer and like see how he's doing. Also, Lady Hilda is like wealthy, she's a socialite, so there's a bunch of people there, and I think you get the implicit feeling that she's talking about you. You can see her kind of face twist into like a little bit of a snarl as she's like talking after making eye contact with you.
Okay, so maybe I want to like ask James if he can like discreetly go over like nearby and like eavesdrop and find out what they're saying.
And James leans over and gives you a conspiratorial little smirk and goes, Captain, and slide feet. And like,
you cut out.
Excuse me, pardon me.
You cut out for a second, Jake, so I didn't hear quite everything you said.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that James can't possibly be all that stealthy. So, as he, nudging people aside to get closer to that group of people, and is like, "Excuse me, pardon me, right this way. I'm going over here."
Yeah. I think Lady Hilda is not trying to keep this a secret. So as you're making your way over, obviously she knows that you're... I mean, she was just looking at, at Esther and saw James sitting with Esther, so clearly understands what's going on.
As soon as like makes eye contact with him, turns around and is just like, "Why? Look at the crown molded over here." There isn't any of that. We're outside.
Yeah, she doesn't really change what she's saying that much. I think she just says, like, "Oh, well, as I've always said, you can't buy class. You can certainly achieve money, but money isn't the only thing that's important, and that's all I'll say about that." And that's what James hears.
James hears that, and whenever he decides, bring him back over to my own spot there, and kind of, "Excuse me, coming right this way again." goes back, sits down and goes, "Well, seemed to be positive to me. She was saying money can't buy happiness." Yourself?
Did you say money can't buy happiness?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, confused by that answer, and I'm just like, so by now I'm thinking that she was like kind of like playing mind games, like trying to make me think that she was talking about me when she's like, talking about something not relevant. And so I'm just like, of course she would say that. Just like her.
Still so put off by it.
Yeah.
That's very good. Yeah, are there any other scenes that people want to have or describe things that they're doing while you're all at this racehorse race? Why did I say it like that?
Well, racehorses are racing there at the horse race.
That's true.
Yeah. At some point, I think that Constance is gonna like kind of move up in the stands to where Esther is. Almost like, I think she's pitching it as though she's like trying to get a better look at things until she's like close enough to Esther that they're not like right next to each other, but like within talking distance. And without really looking at her, but like still going through her little glasses, will be like, "Miss Peachtree, pleased to see you here."
Yeah, I think she's just like, I thought that you might attend. Just like.
Well, which have you bet on today?
Oh, I don't know anything about much of the horses. I just picked a number that I liked. And I don't know, whatever number, like, 12 is or something.
Okay. Horse number 12, we need to come up with a name for.
As I think she says that, she's gonna lower her glasses and kind of like look a little bit over to her, but like still through the veil a little bit, just kind of down over like the first half of her face, and be like, I find it's the most difficult part of coming to one of these races and wanting to participate. You have to make the decision of which horse you would like to win and which horse you think is most likely to win. What is perhaps what you would like to see versus what is the more realistic option? And which would you choose?
Oh, I think Esther just kind of like looks down. Like, I think she's a little bit like feels called out. And so she's just going to be like, well, I think obviously no one wants to bet on a losing horse. And yeah.
I'm just gonna
Constance like,
I'm just gonna remind people of monologue tokens, just because I personally would love to know what Esther's thinking, but not gonna pressure anyone.
I feel like I spent mine so quickly last cycle.
I always forget about mine, so I'll do it. I'm gonna spend mine. What is Esther thinking?
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, so I think she feels kind of like, yeah, like obviously Constance isn't talking just about the race or whatever, and is kind of like wants to like kind of defend her decision to like stick with what her family wants. And so yeah, I think that she kind of like can't help but like want to talk to Constance and like, like share more things together with her, but yeah, at the same time she doesn't know like how much influence that Constance has over what like Hilda wants to do, and kind of thinks that she could have like maybe protected her from some of this backlash and chose not to. And so yeah, she's kind of just like, why would anyone choose to just throw away an opportunity that they have when it would lead to, something bad for them. Yeah.
God, that's so sad. Because I think that Constance takes that remark as like a direct insult, as like a why would I choose the less beneficial thing?
Yeah.
And I think at that she like raises her veil and is like, I guess there's no place for sentimentality in racing. I hope you win. And we'll go back to the front lines. Oh no!
Who started playing a Mitski song in here? What's going on?
Wait a second. How many bits do I have? I was gonna be how many little thingies do I have? What could I play? Could I do a sound alert?
Oh,
yes! I got something!
Oh you all won't be able to hear it, unfortunately, but the chat will.
Yeah, I almost got to that one. Right call.
Oh, my sound alerts are like going crazy. It did not sound like Hello Darkness, My Old Friend at all. It was very strange. I'm not sure why that happened. But yes, Hello Darkness, My Old
I
Friend.
realize that's probably not what.
Yeah, I'm really bummed because I switched over
That's
to
fucking
Google
sad.
and it won't let me share my computer audio. Like, Google doesn't let you do that in a call through Meet. Zoom does, but Zoom doesn't have in-app captions. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to figure out what I think I'm going to still stick with it because I want to have my stream be more accessible, but that's a bummer. Yes, heartbreaking scene. I think we're gonna cut from that. Nicola, you and Philip are kind of considering your options. You notice that, I think Daniel, was kind of because he's connected to the Farthingbottoms, so was by Lady Hilda and was by Mortimer. He keeps kind of looking over at you. And then eventually, as you and Philip are kind of talking, you and Philip and the Russians, Daniel makes their way to you, and says, "I'm sorry to introduce myself so forthrightly, but I've been sent by I'm told a mutual friend, Lord Farthingbottom." Looks at Philip and says, the other Lord Farthingbottom asked that I deliver a message, but the message is that he'd like to speak with you as soon as you are at your leisure. Mr.
With me?
Popichka, yes.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm just watching. I want to say that horse. So.
Oh no, Tag, you're breaking up again. Can you hear?
Whoop. I can hear now.
Okay. Yeah,
My connection got a little spotty on me.
Yeah. I saw you said, "I'm looking at that horse," and that was the last thing that I heard from you.
Yeah, no, I think the last thing I said was that horse over there, and I can do that. So I'll happily go visit with probably look at Philip though, in a kind of like, are you coming over too, or are you?
Yeah. Does Philip want to come talk to his middle? You're fine. Does Philip want to come talk with his middle triplet, or do you want to do something else?
I feel like Philip often doesn't remember that Mortimer exists, so I'll be like, oh yeah.
Right,
Right, sure, right, my bad.
Right.
Okay, yes, of course.
Yeah, Daniel, I think Daniel kind of casually puts their hand on Nicola's arm, just like on like your elbow a little bit, to kind of be like, oh, like, come this way. Kind of a little bit, I think, kind of like as he's doing it is kind of looking to be like, oh, is this like, you know, it's not like he's just grabbing you or something, but kind of gives you like, but also seems like pretty confident.
Boy, it's, yeah, I was gonna kind of.
Okay, I didn't hear the last part of
They'll
what you
choose
said.
to-
Sorry.
Ah, God. Yeah, no, they're gonna kind of crook their arm a little bit to allow that.
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel takes you over to Mortimer. And I think we can either are there any other things that people want to do during the horse race? Because if there are, I think we'll take our break now and then come back with Mortimer and this conversation, whatever else people want to do. If there's nothing else anyone really wants to do with the horse race, we'll have this quick scene with Mortimer, and then we'll take our break, and then we'll come in with the rest of what we're doing. What do you all think?
I think all of the people I wanted to talk to were Farthingbottoms, so this is great for me.
Yeah.
I think it could be either at the race or, if anything, we could make a letter or like a visitation vignette out of this. I think Constance wanted to have a chat with Nikola at some point, which could either happen here or in a different setting. So that can be up to interpretation.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, go ahead, take.
I could probably, based on where you're, a conversation, take 3 steps to the.
Oh yeah, you could have a conversation with Mortimer
there's
and
that.
then talk to Constance. Is that what you're saying?
Everybody's here.
Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and take our break now then, and then we'll come back and do some other stuff at the horse race. So I am going to, we will all be back in, let's say 10 to 15 minutes. So 5:15 Eastern. We're going to be back with more of the drama, more of the pining, more of the ass-based puns, and some of them aren't even really puns. It's just including the word.
It's just same word, but yeah.
Before I forget, can we have a horse named Assless Chap?
Yeah, that's
That's
horse,
so good, Ariel.
that's horse number 12.
I think that's the one that Constance bet on because we haven't said which one she bet on yet.
Oh, okay, cool. Asshole stuff. Can we have it that Constance? I'm gonna spend a resolve token if both of you accept. It's not gonna go to either of you, but that you both bet on Assless Chap. That you both bet on the same horse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Cool. So we'll be back with more Assless Chap after this. Bye. So we're back with the second half of Good Society, Arse and Farce. And where we left off, we were in the middle of a novel scene. And we're gonna cut back in with that. But before we do that, I'm gonna give my guests here a chance to reintroduce themselves, especially because this is technically a brand new stream. So this time we're gonna start with Mace. Do you want to reintroduce yourself, and also if you have projects or anything you would like to plug, you can do that as well. Oops.
Yes, please. Hi, I'm Mace. I use she, her pronouns. Anything I like to plug. I have a separate thing that I do. I'm a poet, and I like making little handcrafted things. I've been doing this little project since the beginning of the summer, I believe, where I type up my original pieces on antique typewriter, fold them up in the style of like an old-fashioned letter and seal it with wax, but do not label them, so it's a mystery to which one you get. I've been offering those at coffee shops on the North Shore, which is, you can see which ones they're currently available at the Instagram. You can also place a online custom order for the Instagram too. So if you're interested in any of those things, or just like keeping up to date on the kind of stuff that I do, can't say I post the most regularly on that Instagram. It's more about keeping people up to date on where they can find them in person or managing online orders. But it's a lot of fun. I think they're really cute. And yeah.
And you can find a link to that. I just dropped it in the chat. I didn't do it before because for some reason I thought you couldn't do direct link to Instagram, but you actually can. So there you go. Ariel, do you want to reintroduce yourself to people? And if you have anything to plug, you can feel free to do that now.
Hi, I'm Arielle. I use she, her pronouns. I really don't have anything to plug, but you can follow me on Instagram if you want to see fun Hawaii pictures all the time. I'm ArielletheGrey, Grey with an E. That's me.
Nice. Tag, do you want to reintroduce yourself and let people know what else you got going on?
Sure, I'm Tag. I use they, them pronouns. You can follow me on places. I'm at Tag the Bard on Twitter and Instagram. Those are going to be quiet a little bit due to an annual death on my part. Wouldn't worry about it. Just happens sometimes. You can also check out stuff that I'm working on at my page on itch.io. I haven't put anything out recently, but for some reason, a lot of people are downloading my little journaling game in the last 2 days. I don't know why.
Because it's good.
Yeah, but there was like a little while where it was like a month of just not a lot of people downloading it, and suddenly a lot of people, and I'm still trying to figure that out. In any case, I still have a project I'm working on for that, and if you just can't hearing me shout things almost incomprehensibly, I also stream on Twitch sometimes. Also,
yeah, that's
Take
right.
the Bard.
I did not add that to the...
That's fine. Nobody needs it. I have plans for things I want to do with a stream, but so far it's just me playing strange, often bad games from my childhood.
It is fun. Zavery, do you want to reintroduce yourself to people and let them know what else you got going on?
Hi, I'm Zavery. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm also Zavery on Twitter. And I would like to promote everybody friending me on Animal Crossing because the update is coming out soon.
Yeah.
And I want to visit everybody's towns and we can drink a little coffee together with Brewster.
I'm so excited for that update.
Yes.
Can't believe they're gonna pull me back in.
I know.
I really wish I had trashed my island last year.
Oh no!
Oh no.
I know, I was like, I'm not gonna play this again, and I go.
Yeah, speaking of Animal Crossing, I am sure, that I'm gonna be playing that on stream some more. I was playing it some, even like a couple months ago, but on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I usually either play video games or do like behind-the-scenes tabletop stuff. So if you like that kind of thing, you can watch me stream on those days. And then the other thing I have coming up is on Halloween, I am having a D&D one-shot in my Goblin Squad series. It's going to be on Halloween at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's a one-shot where all the player characters are goblins, and the one-shots are pretty much always at least partially based on like movies or TV shows, or a mishmash of multiple movies or TV shows. Melanie, who's in the chat, is one of the players in Goblin Squad, and it's a lot of fun. Also, I don't think I mentioned this yet. Today is my 1-year anniversary of streaming, which wasn't planned. It just is like, it happens to be today. I believe, actually, was it today or was it yesterday? I think it was today. I just moved, so I didn't have time to like put together like a celebration thing. So I'm probably gonna be doing that next month, some sort of like year anniversary thing. So if you want to keep up with the stuff that I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter at RollForFelicity, because I tweet a lot about... Oh, Melanie is playing Fanfare. I need to just disable sound alerts. I don't know why they're doing that. You all can't hear it, but it just sounds like bwah, 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 bwah. It doesn't sound like anything.
Yeah, fanfare. Yeah, how would you describe it?
Sounds like, yeah, sure. But yeah, so I'm, that completely made me forget what I was saying. I'm gonna be planning something for my 1-year anniversary of streaming. And enough about that. Let's get back into our Good Society game. So we last left off that we were all at a horse race, and one Mortimer Farthingbottom had just indicated that he would like to speak to Nikola Popichka for who knows what reason. And Nikola, you had made your way over to Mortimer, who is still not doing very well health-wise. We narrated earlier that he's kind of still wearing like semi-hospital clothes looking kind of thing. He's in a wheelchair, and his mother is holding a big umbrella or like parasol, I guess, like over him to help protect him from the sun since he's not doing very well. Yeah, he's kind of just seated there. When he sees you coming over, he says, excuse me, my dear friend Nikola, I just wanted you to come over because I wanted to express my deepest gratitude for you having come and stayed with me while I was not doing well. I know at first I was very angry and aggressive toward you, but now that I'm feeling more myself, I just wanted to say that your apology was so beautiful, thoughtful, and I see now what a fool I've been to have been harboring such anger against you.
Nikola just sort of like looks at Mortimer for a long moment and sort of looks at Hilda and then sort of looks back down at Mortimer and goes, well, I am very eloquent, I suppose, and kind of like crouches down a little bit so that I'm not just like standing up above him.
Yeah.
Well, suffice to say, my very good friend Mortimer, I'm pleased you are recovering.
Yes, the doctors say I should be back to my old self within the next few weeks. It was a bit touch and go, as you know, but I've made quite a recovery. I really just wanted to be here today.
Yes, right in their little leaves. That's, I think, how horticulture works. I don't know anything about plants.
Yes, leaves are involved, roots are involved. Mortimer gets distracted thinking about
just thinking about plants.
But yeah, I think Mace, you wanted to have a scene between Constance and Nikola. So if you want to come in with that now, I think that's a good time for it.
Agreed. I bet right now would be about the time that she would be meandering back from her conversation with Esther and kind of moving back toward the front lines, probably closer to where Hilda and Mortimer are, but probably get a good deal ahead of them, like being right up if there's any sort of like, I guess, sort of like gate to like the farthest up, and she'll be like, veil still up, but like really focusing on the horses, maybe like iron grip on her glasses, like other hand holding onto the railing.
I think Nikola is going to notice that Constance is back and try to make just the absolute politest excuse about being sure to be friendly and greet the rest of Mortimer's family as well. And like, step one is like, oh, and say hello to Hilda, and just kind of a very brief, very complimentary, and then kind of make their way over towards Constance. Lady Farthingbottom?
Mr. Popichka, good to see you. Have you bet on a horse?
I'm not even sure at this point.
You don't do betting in your home country?
Oh yes, usually. Although I'm not sure. it's been explained to me that it's just to see which horse is fastest. And we do the same thing, but with bears. When horses are involved, usually everyone has a rifle, and this seems, well, it's quieter than I'm used to, let's say.
That must be very exciting. Oh my goodness. Like the thought of having a firearm near a horse to injure it is like beyond her. She's like, well, I certainly hope that no one gets injured, let alone the dear things. But I suppose
dozens of people, but it's very important to make sure that the horses are kept safe.
I would firmly agree. Yes, I believe I've been probably delaying coming to terms with the sacrifices one must make in situations such as these.
I'm gonna just lean slightly towards her in a slightly conspiratorial way and say, so about your letter.
Yes, I appreciate any counsel you would have. And at that point, I think she's gonna get a little bit kind of visibly upset and kind of bring her veil back down and lower her glasses and turn fully to Nikola and really more appeal to them very earnestly. I know that you have had your character dragged through the mud lately, very much wrongfully, and I don't want that to happen to anyone else, and the importance of upholding the honor of my family is very much on me. If anything, if it were of my own doing, I would take that myself. I would take that responsibility. Someone trying to do this to me, they're trying to do it to my family as well. You must understand the level of responsibility I have is extreme. And you strike me as the type to, I think, I'm trying to think of what wouldn't be too forward. I think maybe she'll go to touch them, but instead kind of settle for a small curtsy and bowing of her head, and end up saying you seem to be a good friend. I feel I have fewer and fewer of those every day.
Well, Lady Farthingbottom, I like to think you can count on my friendship, certainly. If nothing else, you certainly never need to worry about what I think of you. I believe I know your character quite well. And, well, perhaps I can be helpful to you in some way. We will see.
I would very much appreciate that. If you know of anything, not to imply that you have any sort of underhand dealings such as these, but...
Well, I've never posed as someone else, and of course my grandmother would probably say that if someone was pretending to be me, it was maybe a witch trying to steal my name. I don't think that's what's happening here, though.
I would be very surprised. I suppose the reason that I would ask you is because you truly are the friendliest and most quickly likable person I'd ever met, and therefore I can see how most people would confide in you and place their trust in you. And therefore, if you hear of anything that might seem out of order, that might have anything to do with my situation, do please tell me. You're helping not just me.
Oh, well, you'll be the first to know among your esteemed family.
Thank you. It's very comforting to have a friend. And we'll turn her attention back to the race.
I think having that just happened, I would like to make a little offer to Lord Phillip Farthingbottom. I would like to...
I was wondering, did I hear this conversation? Am I close by?
Actually, that's up to you. You can spend a resolve token to have been close enough by to hear it. That's one of the things that is written into the book as like an example of a thing you can do with a resolve token. So if you want to have heard that conversation, you can spend a resolve token. You don't have to offer it to anyone. You just spend it, and then you will have heard that conversation. So yeah, do you want to have heard that?
That's my last resolve token. I kind of feel like...
Well, I'm about to maybe make you an offer of another one.
Oh, okay, well.
So you might have another one coming.
Let's go ahead and say that I heard that conversation.
Okay, cool. And I did get the Google sheet back up, so I am now at my full capacity for knowing the things that I need to know. So the offer I'd like to make you, Lord Phillip Farthingbottom, is Constance had written a letter to this bookie. Basically saying like, hey, there's something weird going on. I didn't send 2 letters and I didn't bet this much. I would like to offer Philip a resolve token to have it be the case that the bookie has put 2 and 2 together. That perhaps you are the one who has done this to Constance. And I'll say that if you accept the resolve token, I would like for the bookie to confront you before going to Constance about it.
Yes.
Cool.
Let's do that.
So I will... Yeah. So I will spend one of mine and give it to Lord Phillip Farthingbottom. Yeah, so a new character kind of enters the ring, because we haven't really described this bookie. I'm very tempted to just lean into what I did for James before and just do a horrible Cockney accent, but I...
Hello, look who it is. It's Lord Farthingbottom.
Oi, mister.
If it isn't Mary Poppins. Yeah, sure, why not? I don't get to be...
Now I've got the Mary Poppins tattoo right here, so
yeah.
really.
It is Mary Poppins.
What if that's Philip's underground fighting name?
Mary pop him in the face.
Mary Poppins. Phenomenal.
Very good. Yeah, this bookie who you know, Lord Philip, since this is canonically the reason why you have a black eye right now and an eye patch, comes up to you and says, Oi, Lord Farthingbottom.
Bookie.
You had me at
Bookie.
Illegal gambling man.
Yeah, he doesn't have a name yet. I'll come up with a name between now and the next session.
Maybe he is married, Mr. Poppins.
Oh, he could be Mr. Poppins.
Like,
That's actually not a bad idea.
Thunder.
He just pops in.
Yeah, I'm gonna create I'll just put Mr. Poppins down here. Mr. Poppins. Bookie. I'll fill in the rest later. So yeah, actually, considering that I created this resolve token, I'm going to change, this doesn't really matter except for bookkeeping, but I'm going to change it so that Mr. Poppins gave you a resolve token instead of me as the facilitator, since I created them as a connection. Mr. Poppins says, Oi, Lord Farthingbottom. I just had quite an interesting talk with a friend of yours recently. Thought you might like to know about it.
Oh, do tell.
I got a bit of a cheeky letter from your sister. This is gonna. This is a
Getting more Australian by the moment.
Yeah.
Has she
Can't do that accent either.
Has she been making risky bets as usual?
That's the funny thing, innit? She did make a bet. But the letter I got, it was odd in the first place, 'cause she actually sent 2 bets of different values, and I thought it was a mistake. But then she let me know she never sent 2 letters.
Wonder how that could have happened.
Well, you know.
Are you insinuating somebody is impersonating my esteemed sister?
Well, I'm just saying, Lady Farthingbottom requested that I present her with the fraudulent letter, and just thought you might like to know.
Well, thank you for informing me of this mishap. Thank you for trying to resolve it.
All right. He walks away, and you see he's going to Constance.
Uh-oh. Philip might need to take another trip to the countryside soon.
Yeah, he heads over to Constance in the interest of me not having to do this accent that I'm very bad at. I think.
Oh, I'm from everywhere.
I'm from.
Yo.
I'm a little bit from Boston sometimes. Sometimes I'm Australian. Mr. Poppins comes over and gives you this letter that you had been interested in. He anticipated seeing you here today, so he brought it with him instead of sending it. And just, I think it's probably, well, would they have, could he have made a copy of this? I don't know. He gives you the letter, that he was sent.
Do I recognize the handwriting as anything?
Yeah,
Like, do I know anything about it?
I think
Details.
it's up. I'm gonna pit you and Philip against each other again. If you want to spend a resolve token to recognize who this is from, or like who really penned the letter, which Philip, if I'm remembering correctly, did attempt to like forge your handwriting and did like a decent enough job that it didn't like trip any alarms for Mr. Poppins. But yeah, if you want to spend a resolve token to recognize that this is Philip, or Philip, if you want to spend a resolve token to make it so that your sister doesn't recognize whoever
I kind of like the idea of undermining myself since I'm such a villain. I think, though, more than Constance recognizing my handwriting, I think that since Nikola is close by, we would have written so much together, they might have noticed something.
Ooh.
I like that.
And that might turn Nikola against me with Constance, and so I lose my best friend. I kind of like that plot, if that's an option.
That is pretty
boy.
juicy.
I am totally willing to spend my current only resolve token to recognize it. The jig is up.
Yeah. Do you want Nikola to recognize it, or do you want you to recognize it?
Ooh.
Because if you want you to recognize it, I think I would just say you spend the token and it goes nowhere, it just disappears. But if you're offering to tag for Nikola to recognize it, I think the resolve token would go to Nikola.
I'm curious to see what they would do about that information, so I think I'll offer it to tag for Nikola to recognize. I think that since they're right there, I'll be looking at it and be like, Mr. Popichka, do you recognize anything? It's a very excellent forgery of my handwriting, but I can tell you certainly it's not me.
Would you mind if I held on to that?
Certainly. As long as I can have it back. I
Of
don't
course.
want this to go anywhere. But I trust you, of course.
Thank you. I just I would like to check something.
Of course. I'm certain you have a finer eye for that than I do.
Sorry, there's a fly on my keyboard. Sorry. That's why I just started waving my hand.
Yeah, Nikola, did you want to take that resolve token then to recognize it, or are you just taking?
I would. No, I want to take that. That's very interesting because I don't know what they'll do with that either necessarily.
Yeah. I think that seems like a good place to end this novel chapter. Unless anyone has anything that they want to do real quick while we're at the horse race.
Can we end the horse race and see who wins?
Oh,
Yes!
yeah. How?
Oh man, I would have spent resolve token for my horse to win.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, so we've
Ah.
got. Let's first figure out real quick who's bet on which horse.
Bistro Bud over here.
Oh yeah, that's right. You bet on Bistro Butt. And then.
I had bet on Soggy Bottom.
Okay, and then Mace and Savory both bet on Assless Chap. Whoever wants to spend a resolve token to have their horse win, I think that's a perfect way to use a resolve token. Some of you don't have any. Just Mace.
I don't.
Do I have one?
Specifically me.
Yeah, you have one.
You got one left.
Because I could use some money to make my escape, so I think I'd like to spend my resolve token
Yeah.
to have Soggy Bottom
Cool.
come in.
Yeah, if you want to do that, you can. Which I think is kind of nice, because Esther, you made your bet on the horse you thought was gonna win, and you thought wrong.
I like what that means.
It's become very dark in this room, so I'm just gonna go turn on the
Okay,
light.
yeah. That's totally cool. That takes us to the reputation phase of play, which this might be the last thing we do, because it is 6 o'clock, and that's usually when we wrap up.
Oh, yeah.
So, reputation should be pretty quick. Do I have this
Go to that
open
tag
still?
here.
Yes, I do have it still open. Okay. So you all should take a look at your family background sheet. And on that, there is a thing that says reputation criteria. You gain a positive tag if you did any of the things that are listed in that section. You gain a negative tag if you do any of the things that are listed in that section. You don't gain multiple positive tags or multiple negative tags, but you can gain both a positive and a negative. If you think that you have done one of those things, your family background sheet also has some suggested tags. So like for old money, the suggested tag, there's like sensible, well-connected, dependable, generous, caring are the positive tags. Negative tags are old-fashioned, miserly, overbearing, self-obsessed, tasteless. But if you think you did something that you can think of a one-word adjective that's better than any of those provided, like I think last time Esther chose rebellious, even though that's not one of the tags listed for new money, it just fit the best. Do any of you think that you hit either positive criteria or negative criteria?
For sure, negative criteria. Well, soon.
Yeah. Let me see. Phillip is old money, right? Old money. Yeah.
Can I just add rakish, as that was an interesting adjective that was used?
What was the adjective?
But-
Sorry, I missed what you said.
Rakish?
Oh, rakish. Yeah, that's good. Because the
I always
bookie.
think of that as a positive.
You do?
Personally.
You're right. But it was like,
I think it was. I don't know. Rakish.
what would be?
I think that could go either
Not-
way. Because if someone is.
Charmingly evil.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking of the song, like The Rake, like the Decemberist song. Which that
Yeah,
person
but it's
is
like
not
it's like an
positive.
exciting young gadabout, though.
Yeah.
The adjective is having or displaying a dashing, jaunty, or slightly disreputable quality. So maybe just disreputable.
Yeah, that works. Disreputable. Yeah, because Mr. Poppins knows what you did, and now Nikola knows what you did. So I think definitely negative tag for that. I don't think you got any positives. I'm looking at these. It doesn't seem like you really did any of them.
Nah.
Nah,
I'm not a
nah.
good guy, okay, guys?
Savory.
We've got 3 villains in this. in this
Oops, all
game.
villains.
Yeah, I don't think Esther did too much this time.
You did. This is up to you. I would say I could see you having a positive tag. Because you have been compromising your desires. Like, Constance came to you again to try to have a conversation and try to, like, rekindle your friendship. And even though your father wasn't there, you still, I mean, you talked to her, but, like, you know, kind of cut off that avenue a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's up to you if you think, like, I'm not going to tell you, like, you have to do this, but I do think there's an argument to be made that you would get a positive tag.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I don't think that was, like, in service of her duty or morality. I think she was just kind of, like, hurt
Like, more,
at the time. Yeah, so
That's
like,
cool then. Yeah, I definitely don't think you got any negative tags, because you didn't, I mean, last game you acted in an uncouth manner, but this time you just had James go, like, scout out some info, which is not terribly uncouth or low class. Yeah. Okay, so that's Constance or Nikola. Do you think either of you gained any criteria?
The only thing I think I could make an argument for is kind of similar to Esther, in that she went and had a polite exchange with Esther, but she didn't say what she was really feeling, and she didn't delve into their sort of cracking friendship, and responded pretty coldly in a way that maintains their family's feud, essentially.
Yeah, especially denied her desires or made a sacrifice to uphold the family name. Like, you talked to Esther, but it wasn't really anything, you know, in depth. So I would think, if that could be grounds for a positive tag. What about Nikola?
I feel like maybe Nikola kind of set themselves up for some stuff without actually really hitting any of them right now.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah, this was this novel phase was a lot of, like, setup and, like, reactions to things, and we will have another reputation phase for the next time we play. No one hit. Oh, wait, Constance. Oh, no, you already were there. I was going to say Constance hit a condition, but no, you're all still. Yep. You didn't gain or lose any conditions. I went ahead and unticked Fracture and Bad Example for Constance and Nikola, since you were able to recover Mortimer's good graces / Mortimer's reputation, I suppose. So I think that's reputation, and I think we'll call it there. So the next time we play, we'll get into rumor and scandal, which is always fun. I think that'll be a fun start to the session.
That's a fun way to start, yeah.
Yeah. So be thinking about that. And also anyone in chat, if you have rumors or scandals that you want to appear in the game, you can make that happen with some bits. So you could either do that now if you want to get something juicy in before next session, or next session we'll start right off with that. But I think from there, I know it hasn't been terribly long since you all reintroduced yourselves, but before we sign off, do you all want to give a little extra plug for what you got going on? Anybody who missed maybe the first few minutes of this session, like this new stream that I had to start. This time, let's start with Arielle. What else you got going on?
Hi, I'm Arielle. I have a lot going on. You know what? I'm going to plug something. I've been using Couchsurfing as a host. So you travel and you get to stay places for free and make really cool connections. I think it's fun. And as you can travel again, when you can travel again, do it, I think. Meet some cool people.
Yeah.
But yeah, my name's Arielle. She, her pronouns. Nice to meet you all again.
Wonderful. Then we'll go to Tag, I think. What else you got going on?
Sure. I always like to plug somebody else's thing at the end, because it makes me just feel less gross about myself. since it is October and we're like halfway to Halloween, my Twitter pal Cat Elm wrote a just excellent RPG called The Vampire Next Door that is so funny and so it seems so fun. I want to play it so bad. And you can find that, and it's also currently in a bundle of Halloween like spooky RPGs. But you can find Cat's game over at their Twitch page, which is catsithpress.itch.io. And I got to proofread that game a little bit before it was done, so I've been very excited about it for like 2 months.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, also, since Take didn't really promote themselves, you can see some of their links in chat right now. Their itch and their Twitter. And Take is also has been streaming, so let me actually do that. It's Take the Bard, right? Is your Twitch?
It is. I'm the same thing everywhere these days.
Cool. So you can click that link and follow them on Twitch. Who do we have left? Xavery. Do you want to reintroduce yourself? Let people know if you have anything you want to plug.
Sure. I'm Xavery, she, her. Also Xavery on Twitter. And I'm gonna post my Nintendo Switch friend code so that you can all be my friends on Animal Crossing.
Good.
Yes, that's very good.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mace, what else you got going on?
Oh, I am Mace, she, her pronouns. Again, you can stay up to date on my poetry shenanigans on at To Whom It May Concern on Instagram. That's where you can find out where to find poems in person if you're on the North Shore, or if you want to request them yourself, you can do those through DMs. I'm also gonna plug somebody else since I was just talking about the gay skateboarding anime at the start of this. My good friend Stavrula is a phenomenal artist and does a lot of art based around that series, and it's really picking up steam on Instagram, and I'm really happy for her. So I'm gonna pop her Instagram handle, Stavrodiety, in the chat so Taylor can share it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not big on gay skateboarding animes, which I don't relate, but fine. Her work is gorgeous, and I highly recommend it.
Okay, I think I got it.
We also have to shout out Peebs.
Peebs! I think I got that right. I realized after I put everyone's cameras in that now I can't open the chat function on Google because I didn't have it open when I did everyone's, but I think I got it. I think I got it in the chat. Yeah, and I'm Taylor. I also use she, her pronouns. And some stuff I have coming up. I've got a Halloween one-shot on Halloween. My all-goblin group of players, including Melanie, who is in the chat. Peebs was cooking. Thanks, Peebs, for coming hanging out. Also Melanie. I think Mila was in here. And thanks to all of you for, coming and playing this game with me on stream. It was super fun. I'm always excited for these streams. Realist Mogul, thank you again for the bits. And I think that's everything I have to say. If you want to check out more of what I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter at Roll4Felicity. And I do like polls of like, oh, what do you think I should do? I talk about thoughts, I post selfies, all kinds of different stuff. So you can follow me there to see what's up. I am next going to be live on Tuesday. I'm either going to try to finish up the Phoenix Wright game that I'm playing, because I only have a little bit left of the second game, or I might just play Animal Crossing even though the update's not out because I want to get my island ready for the update. So that's what I'm going to be up to. And I think that's it. Normally I would raid somebody, but I don't know if my computer can handle it. So we're just going to sign off now. Does everyone want to say goodbye to chat?
Bye, chat.
Bye.
Bye, chat.
Hi.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.